So you want to start investing into real estate, but you don't know where to start. I'm going to walk you through the 6 steps you need to take in order to invest in an income property. I'm Monica Abramov, a realtor here in Innisfil, Ontario, working with eXp Realty. Now, this is for people who currently own their principal residence. I'll do another video in the future for those who aren't in this situation and want to invest in real estate if they're currently renting. I also want to stress that this video is focused on Ontario, but the principles generally apply anywhere that you choose to invest. So before we get started, what is an income property? It's a property that essentially brings in income. So in this case, we're going to be talking about rental properties, either a condo, a single family home, a duplex, triplex, and so on. The idea is that your tenants pay enough to cover your mortgage, your expenses, your maintenance, and ideally more on top of that for additional cash flow and for unforeseen interest rate hikes like we've seen in the previous year and a bit. So the first thing that you need to take care of is financing. Many people have held off on investing in real estate aside from their primary residence because they think that they need to save up enough cash for their down payment. So this is definitely one way to come up with the money, but it takes forever in most cases. And another way to do this is to take advantage of the equity in your home. Every lender is different, but most will lend out between 65 and 80% of the value of your home. And typically this will come with a home appraisal, and the funds can be taken out as a HELOC, which is a home equity line of credit. Obviously, a key consideration currently is interest rates. Money isn't as cheap as it was in 2021, for example, but if the numbers make sense when it comes to the income part of the equation, then it's still workable. You'll pay off the interest payments for your HELOC until such time when you can add the HELOC into your own mortgage, but we'll get to that later. So once you know what you're working with, you can establish a max budget and start looking for properties. But before you do that, you do need to research your market. Step 2. Research your market. This is extremely important. You want to make sure that the market you buy in has an active rental market and that rents are high relative to the purchase price of homes in the area. Personally, the rental properties that we've invested in are in Barrie, Ontario, which has a very active rental market, and rents are quite high here. And on that note, for first-time investors, I would definitely recommend that you find a market that's not too far from where you live, at least for your first property. You want to be hands-on for this first experience in order to understand all the steps that are involved. Yes, you could hire a property manager, but my personal philosophy is do it yourself first so you know what to expect, you know what the steps are inside and out, and therefore you're going to be able to make better decisions in the future should you choose to opt for a property manager later on. You also want to take into consideration surrounding amenities and landmarks like universities, colleges, hospitals, public transport, highways, nearby employment opportunities, etc. Step 3. Once you've researched your market, it's time to find a property. You'll want to consider which type of property you're looking for. The least expensive will likely be a condo. These are great because of the lower cost of entry, but it's typically just one unit and there are maintenance fees to consider. Then there's single family homes, townhomes, where you rent to a family typically, or a legal duplex, a legal triplex, etc. If you're planning on purchasing more properties in the future, I would choose a property that needs some work. That could be in the form of a reno, adding another unit, or something else that would add value to the home. For our first rental, we purchased a 2-unit townhome in downtown Barrie, and it was actually already a registered duplex, but it needed quite a bit of work. So it needed new flooring, a new kitchen, renovating the other existing kitchen, a bathroom reno, and so on. But because it was already a legal duplex, we didn't have to worry about permits and things like that because nothing that we did was structural in nature. Our next rental was a 2-unit home with the potential to add a 3rd unit, and it was already fully renovated, but it wasn't legal. So we did the work of getting permits and retrofitting the unit to make it legal. If I had to make a recommendation in terms of which type of property I would choose for your first investment, I would always suggest a duplex if your budget allows, but it will always come down to the financials. On a side note, let me know if you're interested in the free spreadsheet that I use to analyze all of my investment opportunities. It's super simple to plug in numbers, and I made it pretty straightforward for newbie investors. The other thing you want to look for is a property that is vacant. It is extremely difficult to remove a tenant here in Ontario, so I would suggest purchasing something that is either vacant or will have vacant possession at closing. And then that way you can also make sure that you're getting market rents because tenants who have been renting for a while probably pay a lot less than market rents dictate in today's market. Step 4. So after you close on your property, this is where you'll do any renovations necessary, any retrofitting, get any permits needed, all that stuff. All these steps are necessary, obviously, to make your unit or units rentable and to increase the value of your property. Make sure you're using reputable trades, people who have a proven track record to do the work reliably, and that at the end of the day, they do good quality work. Step 5. The next step is finding great tenants. You want to make sure that you're properly screening your tenants. Get employment records, references from past landlords, pay stubs, credit scores, etc. But honestly, most of all, go with your gut on this one because you'll know pretty soon if something doesn't feel right. Even if the paperwork looks okay, just remember that paperwork unfortunately can be forged and references can be a friend. So do your due diligence because you want to make sure that you're choosing tenants that will be respectful, will pay on time, and keep your property in good shape. And finally, step 6. If you want to repeat the process and purchase another rental property, this is where this step comes into play. Many refer to this as the BRRRR method, which stands for buy, renovate, rent, refinance, and repeat. So once you've increased the value of your home by way of renovations, legalizing, or adding, a second or a third unit, etc., this is where you can then refinance the home, take the equity out, and use it to purchase your next property. This allows you to grow your real estate portfolio without constantly using new capital. Remember that the success of the BRRRR method depends on careful research, accurate budgeting, effective renovation planning, and smart tenant management. Each step contributes to building a profitable real estate investment portfolio over time. Always stay informed about market trends and be prepared to adapt your strategy as needed. If you want my help in finding a great income property in Simcoe County, feel free to reach out.